Hello, this is the Nightline podcast. My name's James Piecowye, and if you want to learn more about the program, please go to www.dubai1038.com or email us, nightline@dubai1038.ae. Enjoy the show. I noticed there was quite a bit of traffic.
There was quite a lot of traffic, actually, yes. I was stuck in traffic momentarily, but I didn't seem to mind that much.
You know why people don't... Well, we're going to find out what you were driving. But I always say, when you're caught in traffic, it is an excellent opportunity to do a little car shopping and see, what's out there. How do the vehicles look, especially in the dark? And if you got a question, roll down your window and say, hey, how do you like your ride?
Yeah, and hope they're amenable to a conversation.
I've never met anybody who doesn't want to talk about their car when you're caught in traffic.
Well, I was stuck in traffic earlier today, and I planned to have a conversation with somebody today, but it was a different sort of conversation, because somebody had obviously had a little bit of an incident, and they were stuck in the middle of the road, and there they stood.
Oh,
and I was
no,
like,
don't do that.
That's kind of dangerous. Because,
and you will get a ticket. You'll get a ticket. Not only have you had a fender bender, it's going to cost you a fortune to get it fixed.
Yeah.
If you're obstructing traffic, get to the shoulder, get off, don't stay in the middle, don't stand there, because A, you could get killed, and B, the police are going to give you a ticket for now obstructing traffic.
I think that they think that the triangle, the red triangle that we're all required to carry, and I hope everybody listening has one in their car, but I think that some people think that red triangle has superpowers.
Yeah, it does not.
Because they think that, well, if I put that
There's
back behind the car,
Star Trek
that's
force
it.
field.
There's a force field.
Yeah,
Shields up.
Yeah.
Red alert.
Yeah.
That's it.
50 years of Star Trek, by the way.
Yes, I know. Tell me about it.
And the Toronto
live long and prosper.
Toronto International Film Festival is screening the first episode of Star Trek.
And you know what? If anybody out there's got Netflix, they've got the entire first, the original series, all 3 series of them are on Netflix.
So if you're wondering what you're tuned into, it's not just 3 guys. Well, 2 of us have been talking. One has been, dancing around the studio, waltzing.
He's been sorting out the tricorder.
Yes. If you're wondering what you're listening to, it is Cartalk. We are talking cars. We are talking to you. And Shazad, what are you driving? You did allude to it. You don't mind being caught in traffic.
I didn't mind being caught in traffic today because I was reclined in utmost comfort in a Rolls-Royce Dawn.
Wow.
Yes, indeed. The only thing about it is very orange interior. Very, very orange. It's like tango orange.
Is this a 4-door model?
No, it's a 4-seater.
It's a 4-seater, but it's
a 2-door.
Yeah.
So this is what Rolls-Royce don't like us to say, but basically this is the Rolls-Royce Ghost convertible.
Okay.
They don't like us to say that because they've given them all different names.
Yes, it's the Dawn.
So it's the Dawn, yes. But the Rolls-Royce Ghost is the 4-door saloon, so that's the one that sits underneath the Phantom, although the Phantom is being discontinued now. That was the Big Daddy. This one is essentially derived from a platform based on a BMW 7 Series, but it feels very, very different to a 7 Series. Now, the Rolls-Royce Wraith, which was introduced a couple of years ago, you could say that's the coupe version of this. And now the Dawn is the convertible version of that. Although they say, to be fair, they say that 80% of panels are completely different to the Wraith. This is their justification for saying it's a completely, entirely different model.
Just in one word. Fantastic?
Yeah, magnificent. Magnificent, yes. I mean, I said I posted earlier on something called Snapchat. It's all the kids are doing it these days. Anyway, I posted on there earlier a little image of me not driving. I never Snapchat whilst I'm driving, but I'm sitting behind the steering wheel, and I pointed the camera outside the window, and I said, there is no more magnificent a sight in the automotive world than staring down the bonnet at a little Nelly's pert behind.
It's amazing. Well, I mean, and it's a Rolls-Royce.
It is a Rolls-Royce, yes, and it does feel very regal. It does feel very Rolls-Royce. It still does, I mean, this thing, it's incredible. It's got this massive V12 engine, I think something like 600 and something horsepower, and, it does 0 to 100 in under 5 seconds. I mean,
it's a heavy car,
It's a big, heavy car, but you don't want to do 0 to 100 in under 5 seconds. You want to do what Rolls-Royces were always meant to do, which is waft along.
Yeah, you cruise.
You
just cruise.
You cruise, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I had the roof down.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That's the way you have to roll.
Totally. Well, that's how we roll in our rolls.
There we go. See, that's the line.
There's the line right there.
Imtishan, are you driving anything awesome these days, or
Well, I was driving a car that perhaps I shouldn't repeat what happened to it, but I will talk about, I think, in recap, the vehicle that I briefly mentioned last week, which was the Patrol V6.
Yes.
So for those of you who didn't tune in for the last 10 minutes, I was in Oman driving the new V6 Patrol.
Now, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this, and I get the logic that V6s are more fuel efficient. Toyota's already cornering the market on putting out these monster vehicles, the Land Cruiser, great pedigree, with the V6. Why wouldn't Nissan do the same thing? But
I think you've answered your own question.
I know why they're doing it, but I just...
It's a question mark over how the car will be received out here.
Yeah.
I drove it in Jebel Akhtar. Occasionally it did struggle in the mountains because it's a very, very high mountain, but to be honest, anything would struggle out there. But in the towns it was fine. Yeah. But you got to remember, it's not a V8, it's a V6. However, it's a decent V6. But it does rev out a bit more, and the Patrol's a big, heavy car.
Yeah.
But, the whole point is fuel economy on the highway.
Is the fuel economy going to be that much
30%.
better? 30%. 13%.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. I don't know.
You don't know? What don't you know?
13%? I want the V8.
No, it's not even about that. It's about, you talk about that it's all about fuel economy, and I'm not entirely convinced, I understand the argument vis-a-vis emissions. Yes, of course you will get less emissions, that's a fact. But as we've always maintained, you get a V8 driven sensibly.
Yes.
I mean, I had, before this Rolls-Royce, I was driving around the brand new, all-new, ultra-modernist, modern, futuristic Volvo S90. This thing is supremely elegant and supremely new. And it has this amazing 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which, you think, wow, and that thing puts out...
Are you making the case for the V6?
No, wait for it.
Okay.
So it doesn't have a V6. It has a 4-cylinder
No, but I'm just
engine.
saying you're talking about a 2-cylinder,
I'm talking about a
2-liter engine, and now... Okay,
well, I'm talking about downsizing engines, right?
Yes.
And if the idea is that it's for economy, I slightly want to put a hole into that myth, right? Because as efficient and as amazing and as beautiful as this engine was, I was getting about 11 point something liters per 100 out of it. I used to get that out of the 300C SRT.
Yeah.
That's a fully fledged Hemi V8.
Are you suggesting that everybody should drive 300C SRT?
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
At all.
I would.
But this is what I'm trying to wrap my head around is you can have the big V8 with all of the technology. It's going to go down to 4 cylinders. Maybe they can even make it go down further. Unless you're pedal to the metal all the time, these things are pretty darn efficient. And maybe the engineers just have to do a better job at building that efficiency.
There's only so much you can do with V8s to the end of the day. I mean, on the highway they make sense. In town, it is inescapable. You will use more gas around town.
And emissions, to be fair, No, I mean the gas thing I will still argue about, but emissions certainly. But I've always said that a smaller engine, even a very efficient one, has to work much harder in a largish car. And uses therefore the same fuel as a big engine, which has to, basically rumble along and do the same job.
I mean, my verdict is I would still get the V8 Patrol. It's a lot more expensive now because that's only reserved for the top end and Nismo versions. So
I saw one of those today. A Nismo.
A lot of people want a Patrol. They want to be able to carry people and stuff and go camping. And for that sort of thing, it's fine. I mean, it's not hugely diminished, but obviously it isn't as powerful as the V8.
Do you think? I mean, you two gentlemen have been writing about cars online at Motoring Middle East now
Literally
5 years and counting. Do you think that we'll just forget? I mean, eventually we'll just forget that the V8 was the norm, and the V6
I think
will just become.
They're already forgetting.
They're already forgetting.
They've
already forgotten.
There are a lot of engines people have forgotten about, like the rotary engine. Which I've driven quite a few. Lovely
Mazda.
cars.
Yeah.
Straight sixes. You don't see them so much anymore. BMW still makes them, but really only in the...
That's a great engine.
Although I think straight sixes will come back. I have a theory.
I have a theory.
My theory is that V6s are basically V8s with 2 cylinders lopped off, right?
Yes.
But now that they're not developing
No,
V8s...
they're not.
That's
yes,
what they are.
They
That's what
really aren't.
They
so
are.
they take a they take a buzzsaw.
That's it. And they go, there's your V6. That's it.
Somebody tells us out about degrees.
That's what the engineers do all the time. But now they're not developing V8s. They can develop dedicated straight sixes, which are so much silkier and so much smoother.
So much more emission-y.
Yeah, there's still the emissions thing, isn't there?
That whole emissions problem.
But going back to James's question, I think this is a question that's particular to us here, because don't forget, in other markets, V8s are the oddity.
Yeah.
V12s are the oddity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, when do you ever see one of those? So for us, it just feels, because we're in a market where fuel is cheap, we think, well, we should all be driving V8s. Well, there is an argument to say, yes, we should all be driving V8s. Why not? The last bastion of the V8. But, however, they are a little bit of an oddity in the rest of the world, and they are not being developed at the same pace as 2-liter turbos are being developed, you know? There's some incredible 2-liter turbos out there.
There's a reason why they're 2-liter turbos and 3-liter V6s, because they make sense in countries that have specific regs around engine sizes.
I think the engineers are just getting lazy. That's all I'm thinking.
I mean, they made a 700 horsepower Hellcat, so they're not that lazy.
Those guys aren't lazy, but the other ones are. If they
can make a 650 horsepower.
If they can make
ZL1.
if they can do these awesome engines with all this power, and you look at it, you're trying to figure out how they're doing that. Surely a few of these people can get locked into a room and come up with a way to actually, make these engines cleaner. If they can scrub coal generation power plants
about that, James. The
for the carbon, they can do that for a car. Come on.
Absolutely.
But it's about imports, because if you go into China, 2 liters is typically the tax bracket. Okay. Same with 3 liters and so on. So if you have a 4-liter V8, you can make it the most efficient thing in the world, but it'll still get taxed like 100%.
All right.
So we don't have that problem out here.
Gentlemen, we've got a whole bunch of texts coming through. All of you who are listening want to get involved. We absolutely want you to get involved. This is Car Talk. Motoring Middle East is here. Questions, phone calls. All right, we've got questions coming through.
Yes.
Stephen wants to know what's your review on the new Jaguar SUV. And hold on, and we also had a message that came through last week.
Rollover question.
Which I neglected to get to this email.
Yeah.
And this is from Narian, and Narian has a similar question. Asking, and let me just get back to the question here. Okay, he says, first of all, I love the show. Kudos.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a big fan of Motoring Middle East, so that's
great.
Hey, we love to hear that. And he goes on to say, onto my car dilemma. I'm considering buying the new Jaguar F-Type V6, V6S Coupe, or a Maserati Levante SUV. Yeah. First off, I would like to know your thoughts on these vehicles. Second, do you have any suggestions on alternative choices? The list below should sum up what I'm looking for. Sporty and fun to drive, less than 340,000 dirhams, prefer new over pre-owned, prefer European, UK, Japanese over US. We'll hold on to the car for at least 4 to 5 years. Ideally something not too common on the roads, and ideally something not too similar to vehicles I already own. A 2012 Dodge Challenger SRT8, a 2013 Maserati Quattroporto, and a 2015 Porsche Cayenne.
I think you should just keep the cars he's got. Anyway, I'm a little confused by his question because he's putting a Maserati SUV against a Jaguar Coupe. But let's go to the first one first, which is about the Jaguar SUV, which is the F-Pace. Now, the only thing is me and Imtishan can't answer that question because we haven't driven it, but we know a man who has.
Noel Ebden.
Yes.
Is the man, and he is on the line. Noel, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Any night you get to sit in a padded room with these two guys is probably a good night.
Exactly, yeah.
Noel's been trying to avoid that for years.
Yeah, unsuccessfully. I have been there, don't worry. I feel your pain. No problem.
So, Noel, thoughts on the Jaguar SUV?
Well, I mean, I went down to Montenegro to drive it, and it was supposed to be, bright sunshine, lovely, sunny skies, etc. And it rained the entire time I was there, so I actually got to experience it in conditions that a lot of people in Europe will actually end up driving it in, which is obviously quite good. But yeah, I mean, pretty much everybody there absolutely loved it. And, on these media trips, people tend to say they love something, but, afterwards, then the write-ups come in. But they all genuinely seemed really blown away by it. I think Jaguar had to get this car right. There was a lot of raised eyebrows about, them making an SUV, especially with the Land Rover Link. But, they really did a good job with it. I mean, the technology in it is insane. It's just crazy. I mean, you can actually link your PS2, that's whatever it's called now, up to the screen and play games directly on the screen.
Not while you're driving, though, right? Not while you're driving.
I wouldn't advise that. Yeah, I think that's best avoided.
But how do you think it'll do in this market? I mean, I know you drove it in the rain and stuff, but just based on the package itself, what do you think?
I think it's fantastic. I think it'll do really well here. It's also it's got a couple of, it's kind of hitting some really key points. Jaguar are pushing it as a soft roader. I think they don't want to nibble into the Land Rover sales, quite obviously.
Makes sense.
They actually they let us drive it off road, and it's actually brilliant off road. But they're not. Actually, I probably shouldn't say that because they're not. They probably don't want to talk about that. But there they go. They let me drive it off road. So
as soon as we get one here, we'll let Empty loose in the sand with it and find out what it's like.
Exactly.
I'm going to the mall. I don't know what he's talking about. That's about as off-road as I ever plan to go.
But the best thing about it is the looks. The photos don't do it justice. When you see it in the flesh, it looks a lot bigger than you think it should be, and it's also got that similar to the Infiniti FX with the kind of cab back look to it and a longer bonnet. So it's actually quite dynamic looking as well, and I just think they've done a really nice job with it. But I think they had to get this one right. I mean, Jag are doing pretty much everything right, along with Land Rover as well. So at the moment, but they had to get this one right because there was a lot of people watching this one, and no, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. So.
All right. So that sounds like it's a vehicle that we are going to want to own, and as you said, they got it right. So any trepidation one has, a Jaguar SUV, when you see this thing, you kind of go, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I would actually. I came away from it thinking I would buy one of these.
Wow.
And I don't usually think that. They've also got the tech in it. I know I said it earlier, but the tech is incredible in it. And Jaguar has always been a little bit behind on the the infotainment and stuff like that. And they've now taken like a big quantum leap forward. So yeah, it's impressive stuff.
Awesome. Hey, Noel, I'm going to let you go, but thank you very much for taking the few minutes to talk to us about a vehicle that none of us have driven, but you have, and helping the folks who are joining us through the wireless to get better informed. Hey, have a good night.
No problem.
You too. Talk to you again. Bye.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
That was Noel Upton talking to us about a fantastic Jaguar.
There you go. Well, we did send him on the lawn, so we thought let him work for it.
So what do you think about this other question?
Now, the other question is a bit more confusing to me because he's putting up the Maserati Levante, which is an SUV, against Jaguar F-Type coupe, which is essentially a sports car.
I don't think he knows what he wants.
Those are two very different things. But he has a nice collection of cars as it is. I mean, he's got everything from a Quattroporte up to, what was it, a Challenger?
Yeah, he's got a Challenger SRT8.
I don't think he should buy anything. I think
that's
he should
the one
just enjoy the cars
he's looking to replace.
The Challenger?
Yes.
No. I'd have it.
No, he's looking to replace the Challenger.
Well, if he's looking to replace the Challenger, then I would say he has to go for the Jaguar coupe. Right? Because he's replacing a coupe with a coupe. That makes sense. If he's replacing a coupe with a SUV, I don't quite understand that.
I don't see an SUV, though, in his stable of vehicles. So maybe he's looking to up the ante a little bit.
But then surely he should replace the Maserati Quattroporte for the Levante. Maybe he doesn't want to. I don't know. Yeah. It's very strange. He's in a very fortunate position. Maybe he should just buy both.
Now, less than 340,000 dirhams. So that suddenly puts a little bit of.
I think how the Jaguar F-Type coupes, the V6, does that fall into that?
Into how much?
340,000.
I think it's slightly more, but I could be wrong. Prices could have changed. I think it's about 350, 360, slightly more.
So maybe he'll dig into the savings a little bit more.
Now the only thing is, again, we don't have a man who's driven the Levante. We haven't driven it yet. We have put a request in, and once they get one on the fleet, we'll drive it and we'll bring that to you as soon as we can. Okay. We have driven the F-Type, and they're great. We enjoy them. They're great. Do prefer the V8. Because it's just a bit crazy and a bit rowdy. But the V6 makes perfect sense. So I think if he's replacing a coupe for a coupe, that would be my suggestion.
Another question that's come through, sort of a response to our economy vehicles, saying I got 13.9, if I'm seeing this correctly, to 100 kilometers for my 3.5 V6 Lexus engine, and my wife's Golf 4-cylinder 1.2 turbo gets the same. Economy what? So it's talking, engine sizes and things like that. These two vehicles, very, very different. The Lexus and the Golf are getting the same fuel economy. So, where do we go with that?
I'm just confused about his question, but...
no, that's when we were just talking about engine sizes and fuel economy.
The
V6 and the V8 and...
I'm just trying to extrapolate what you're saying exactly from that. But
so is he making a comment or is he asking a question?
Yeah, I think he's just making a comment. He's just saying, here we go.
I think those are both pretty fuel-efficient cars out here.
Yeah.
So.
But, again, he's probably just driving his V6 Lexus very well.
Yes.
See, and that's my point. You can do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to make an analogy here.
Please.
You remember all those Sonic Dodgers?
Yes.
Back in the day?
Yes.
So there's an easy way to do things and there's a difficult way to do things. So there's one person who goes tootle down Sheikh Zayed Road, keeping it a nice 80, arrives unfussed, uses Salik. Then there's the person who's trying to make a point and then goes down the non-Salik road and, just tearing down that road as fast as humanly possible. And it's the same way with fuel economy. If you really just want to relax and drive, they're pretty efficient. If you're trying to make a point... If you're trying to drive it really, really non-economically, you can. If you drive very economically, you also can. It's all about you. Which one are you going to be?
Shazil's come through, and he's firing with both cylinders at you, Shazad. He's saying, hello, hi, Cartalk. My Focus ST averages 11.3 liters to 100 kilometers. Yeah. How do we know this? I mean, who's doing all these calculations? Because
most cars have computers.
Yeah, not mine. Yeah.
Actually, yours does. I'm not just sure you know.
It does, but where does it tell you that?
We'll go down and have a look at your car later.
Well, it does not tell me that. How is it possible to get the same economy on a performance V8 in the 300C SRT? Was it stationary when you saw that figure?
Well, my time with the 300C SRT is well documented on motoringme.com. Just go and have a look. It's all documented on there. And in fact, there was an episode, there's a little video clip on Facebook, and which is on the page as well, which documents a time when I did a fair amount of mileage and I got 9.8 liters per 100 kilometers out of that very same car. Yeah. And no, Shajil, if I was standing still, I would actually be using more fuel. Because if the car if a V8 is just standing still and the AC is working and the stereo's on and everything, it's actually using more fuel. When it's driving along and it's being efficient, it uses less fuel. Now again, what he says is actually proving my point completely, because he's got a fantastic hot hatch, a Ford Focus ST, which you drive hard everywhere because that's the way you drive it. But by doing so, you are using as much, if not more, fuel than you would do if you were cruising around in a mean-looking Chrysler 300C SRT.
There we go. The point has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, and I'm sure this conversation will continue on the Motoring Middle East Facebook page.
Go for it.
If you want to get involved in the conversation, by the way, this is Car Talk on Dubai Eye's Nightline program. Motoring Middle East is in the house. Motoring Middle East is in the house. If you've got questions, queries, comments. Esther's man in the phone line. She's here too. So we're all here. Imtishan, Shazad, myself, Esther.
Hey, Esther.
We should bring Esther in here. I bet you she's got something to say about cars.
I'm sure she does. But she's just sitting over there in behind the glass sniggering at us. She's
like, that's what she does.
You guys.
I think sometimes she's trying to figure out how she can manually turn us off. Yeah. Anyway, questions come through. F-Pace, maybe it's an observation. F-Pace looks like the older Mitsubishi Outlander Z. That's not nice.
You know, I don't know. The F-Pace is a really weird one because I've heard it compared to other non-complementary cars in the past as well. But I think it's something in what Noel said, because he did say that when you see it in the metal, you do get blown away by it. And admittedly, I've seen it at motor shows, but I haven't seen it out. You know, cars look. You really learn about cars when you see them in the environment that they're meant to be in. Not motor shows don't really tell you the truth.
They used to have nice calendars at motor shows. Anyway, moving swiftly forward.
Those days of who has a calendar anymore?
Yeah, exactly. Calendar, what's that?
What's calendar?
Paper.
It'll be long before your kids will say that. Calendar, Dad?
Calendar?
Isn't that in the kitchen?
The Outlander Z. I saw an Outlander the other day. I thought they were kind of was looking nice.
Wasn't Mick Jagger in that movie?
Outlander? Yeah. Here's another one. Evening, boys. I'm looking for some advice, and I would appreciate an expert feedback. Can we get Noel back on the line?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking for a small crossover within the 75,000 dirham mark, which can comfortably seat 5 adults. I have gone around the showrooms and checked out the Ford Escape, the Hyundai Tucson, the Kia Sportage, and the Renault Kelios. Any other models worth checking out? Which one from the above-listed cars would you guys recommend? And thanks. This is Hanin. So 75,000 dirhams is the price range. Looking for a small crossover SUV, 5-seat for 5 adults. Has already checked out the Escape, Hyundai, Kia, and the Renault. Suggestions?
I'm just looking at my esteemed colleague who immediately fingered me on this one. It's like, oh, you're going to answer this. I have an idea. I think it's slightly more expensive, but I believe you can get a Honda CR-V for about 80-something thousand dirhams. And that will take 5 people.
What about the RAV? What about the RAV4?
I think it's slightly more expensive. Okay. I think it's closer to 100. But again, prices change all the time.
Hold on. Suzuki.
No, Suzuki is like a 4-seat. The Vitara is not big enough for 5 people. If he definitely wants 5 people.
5 people. 5 adults. Not just 5 people.
All of these cars,
adults.
Tucson, etc., they're all more like 4-seaters. You can squeeze 5 people in a pinch, but if you're taking them very often, you want something one size bigger. So you're looking at the CRV class, and that's the point. Tiguan, there's a lot of cars.
There's a lot of cars.
The
I mean,
Tiguan.
the Chevrolet Trax, I remember doing that one. It's maybe a little on the small side, but it's a great value car. I really enjoyed driving that. That's 67,000 dirhams, that one.
Hold on, what Tiguan?
Tiguan is great. Tiguan is great. And
they're-
Tiguan is slightly more than
more
that
than
price.
75,000
Yeah, it's
though.
more than that price. But actually not that much more, because I have heard rumors that the price might be slightly less than I originally quoted, which I think was something like 90 or 95, I think I said.
But we're
there's a suggestion. They haven't confirmed the UAE price yet, so it may be check with your dealer. But it will be more than that.
Okay.
But
So
maybe not that
the Chevy
much more.
Trax.
Chevy Trax is worth looking at, yeah.
But the CRV, you're thinking that might head over to the Honda show.
If you've got a family, the answer is always CRV. Because it's a tough little car. It takes up a ton of stuff. It is infinitely configurable. I mean, I used it to transport 5 tires the other week, five truck tires.
Yeah.
And then, we do the weekly shop afterwards.
Okay.
And then you can take like 6 people. It is an absolutely configurable car.
Honda CRV. Sounds to me. And, you get
It will not excite you when you drive it. That is the one problem.
I'll go with the Suzuki.
Hold
I
on.
quite like that. I thought it was a fun little car.
Hold on. Captur. What about the Captur? It's not a crossover.
Captur,
It's not a crossover.
No, yeah,
Bit
not
small.
crossover, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you can buy a Renault Duster. Look, if you're being cheap, you can just buy a Duster.
No, we're not going there. What? Anything over in the Mazda, the fleet? You guys love Mazdas.
CX-5. Is
saw-
that on sale yet? 6.5?
I saw one of those today, and I had to take a second look. It
Do
looks
you know
different.
there's a CX-4?
Who would
Is
buy
there?
that?
A CX-4 is only China-only vehicle, which is like a coupe version of the CX-5, like a
right.
very sleek version.
Neat.
And they're thinking of...
Mazda CX-5 is quite expensive for that price, isn't it? 115 I've got.
Hang on,
that.
why is a Mazda expensive? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
How much is it? 105? Oof, no.
115
Honda
I've got it down.
CRV. Have you been over to the Honda showroom? That's where you need to go check it out.
Well, they always got a deal going, so
Yeah.
it could be the way to go with
and
the
now,
CRV.
otherwise, Ford Escape.
I'd stop off at the Suzuki first.
What about the Ford Escape? No.
That's a good car. Check it out. Worth checking out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think 75,000 you get in.
Yeah.
Or there's a whole bunch
No,
of...
that's more expensive. I got 89 for that.
Okay.
Yeah, but there might be like an offer on
Don't
it.
the Ford Escapes come from Canada? Aren't they all made in Oakville? I think they are. Canadian car. Makes it awesome.
Does that make it in any way better than a non-Canadian
If
car?
the computer goes A at the end of directions when it's doing, the GPS stuff.
Well, there's a surprising amount of Canadian-made cars in our
Yeah.
market. Because
Which
the
is-
Challenger is made in Canada.
Awesome.
There you go.
See?
I mean, the Camaro was made in Canada till quite recently.
Yeah.
And the Charger, well,
All right. So there we go. Maybe the CRV is the way to go. So
it is the way to go.
okay, there we go. That's the advice coming from these guys. Let us know if that advice sticks with you a little bit, and that's what these guys are saying as experts. So there we go. Saad Zafar's come through. He says 140,000 for a Lincoln MKX 2015 full options with moonroof with 5-year service contract. Is that a good deal?
Sounds good to
Sounds
me.
like a good deal.
Yeah.
If it's full options with radar cruise and heated and cooled seats and a whole bunch of other toys, then yes. What engine is on that, Shazad?
I'm
3.7?
just keep talking whilst I
Okay.
pretend to look it up.
3.7 V6, I believe, 300 horsepower. It's a Mustang engine. There's also the new Edge, which is a 115 2-liter turbo, supposedly all new, and we haven't driven it yet, but that's supposed to be quite interesting as well. And that will form the next MKX. Or is it the current MKX?
See, the Lincoln MKX, what engine did you say? It's got 2.7 V6 according to what I have here.
Is that the turbo?
I don't know, 346
Must be the
horsepower.
turbo. If it's the
But then brand new, they're 253,000. So yeah,
250.
yeah. So he's actually getting a really good deal. He should buy
No,
that.
he must be getting the V6 version.
Either way,
Or-
he's getting a
Yeah,
great
that's the
deal.
V6. Yeah, get
Okay,
it. Get it. Yeah.
Yep, go. Here's an interesting one. It's not an everyday car, is what it says. Fuel economy is non-existent. Uncomfortable drive. There is a reason it's known as an off-road car. These are some of the things that people have told me. Avoid the Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. What do you say?
I think I'll just sit back for this one.
Who are these
Oh,
people?
boy.
No, hold on. Who are these people? I've been driving Jeep Wrangler
You
Unlimited since
picked the wrong
2009.
place to call.
Esther, can you get the popcorn? I think we need some popcorn now.
I want to know who these people are because I've been driving 2 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited since 2009
Every
as
day?
daily
Every day?
drivers to Abu Dhabi as well.
I put 75,000 kilometers on my everyday Jeep Wrangler. As for fuel economy, I mean, You've got the thirstier old one.
Oh, yeah, it's thirsty.
And I've got the not so thirsty new one, which is doing 11 kilometers, 11 liters per 100 kilometers on the way here.
You know what? It cost me today 120
As for
dirhams to fill the
drive,
tank, and I get, I don't know, 500 kilometers to the tank or something like that.
which is, pretty darn reasonable.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable to drive.
Uncomfortable drive. Stock suspension is actually really good now. I have adjustable suspension, which is even more comfortable.
Well, my cars are stock, both of them, and I'm very comfortable in these cars. No.
They are really good. I know people who commute to work, school teachers, I know off-roaders, I know all sorts of people.
Go drive one. That's what I say. Now, if you're 6'2" and you're going to be sitting in the back seat of the Wrangler Unlimited, that might be an issue.
But there is a way to fix that.
There is a way.
You can recline the seat, and there's an aftermarket. There's an aftermarket everything to fix any problem with the Wrangler. These people have been leading this person astray.
Yeah, clearly.
Military grade astray.
You know what? I get into my car, both of these Jeep Wranglers. I have an instant smile on my face. I start one and the other one.
It's a Jeep thing.
But you know what? Instant smile on my face.
Funnily enough, there's a video about you saying exactly
there
this
is
on YouTube at the moment if people would like to check it out.
You are now a YouTube star.
I'm a YouTube star.
Go and check out Jeep Middle East.
There we
Jeep
go.
Middle East on YouTube. Look them up and you'll see James Piecowye and his Jeep.
And another everyday car, which is even more surprising. But yes.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I don't know. I think.
I mean, they're out of date, whoever that is, because look around you. There are tons of Wranglers on the road.
I love mine. I wouldn't. I keep flirting with the idea of maybe it's time to get another vehicle.
No, you won't.
And I don't.
No, you won't.
That's the thing.
I sent you one the other day, and I was like, nah, he's not going to do it.
Nah, you know what? I did for a few minutes. If it had been a Ford Figo standard, lowest model car, I might have thought about it. But
manual with the skinny wheels.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm sticking with mine. Sam will be getting it very soon. Needs some touch-ups.
Yeah.
Stop aiming for the walls.
Oh man. So anyway, I just don't agree. Go test drive one. Don't believe what people say. Go drive
And
it.
that applies to any car, isn't it? I mean, okay, we can give you advice.
No, believe what we say.
Yes. But at the same time, you may want a different kind of car. In which case, the ultimate adjudicator is you. Go and see what car you want.
Hey, going back really quickly to the 75,000 Durham 5-seater.
Yes.
Sad's come through and says if you can increase his price just a little bit, what about the Jeep Renegade?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's. I think it's slightly more pricey, but actually I think there's a
there's a 69,000 dirham two-wheel drive version,
which you can get. Yeah.
Which, to be honest, the CRV you're getting at that price range probably will be a two-wheel drive version, and so will the Tucson, whatever. And you know what?
No, CRV only comes as all-wheel drive.
No, there's a two-wheel drive.
Is there?
Yeah.
Well, that's new.
Yeah.
There you go.
So 69,000 will get you into a basic Renegade, and that'll be a lot cheaper to run because it's got a smaller engine. Actually, no, it's also 2.4, isn't it? But it's a much lighter car with a better gearbox.
I like the Renegade. It's worth checking out, definitely.
Yeah. This is Cartalk. Okay, here's another question that's come through, and by the way, you can still get questions to us. 4001 is how you do that. It says, hi guys, I took your advice and bought the manual 03 E46 M3 with full service history.
Woohoo!
You're right, the car is awesome.
Yay!
However, I have a concern.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we're leaving. The show is fun.
Wasn't me, Gov.
He says, the only concern is it came as a GCC SMG transmission that was converted by a BMW German specialist in Dubai to a manual. Should I be concerned?
Ooh.
That's a tough one because the conversion always isn't very recommended. But if it was done by a specialist and done properly, look, these cars are made as manuals and autos, so you can swap between them in theory. You just need to ensure that they're done properly and safely. There are no leaks and sort of, screws still hanging around there. So it's one of those things where if you want, get checked out by another specialist maybe. And see if everything works okay. But if the car is working, it's technically a simpler system than SMG now as a manual.
Yeah, well, my question would be, is that whoever carried out the work, did they offer a warranty on that work? Because if not, go back to them and see if they'll extend the warranty on it to make sure that if there are any problems, you can go back to that specialist and get it sorted out. But I assume if it's a specialist and they know what they were doing, then it should be okay. But yeah, maybe just get a second opinion on it.
Okay. Here's another question. This is going back to the 75,000 Durham 5-seater SUV crossover.
Popular question tonight,
says,
that one.
Thanks for the advice.
Yeah.
The CX-5, the Tiguan, the X-Trail, and the RAV4 are all close to 100,000 dirhams.
Oh, so this is the original question.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
I didn't like the Vitara.
Oh.
Between the CRV and the Escape, which one would you recommend, given that the CRV is 10,000 dirhams more expensive than the Escape base version at 77?
I'd go for the Escape. If he's driven it and he likes it and he's going, okay, I can save some money on the CRV, then just go for the Escape.
I think you're getting a solid vehicle with the Ford.
Yeah.
I own a CRV and I'd still say go with the Escape.
So there we go. We're all looking at this and going, head towards the Escape. I've driven.
Money in the hand.
In fact, the moment we're leaving the radio station, we're going down to the Ford showroom. So you better hurry.
In our CRVs.
In our CRVs. Trading them in.
We got another person who's come through. Says, where can I buy Volvo used parts transmission for an XC90 2007?
The Volvo Service Center.
He says I can't seem. Maybe he doesn't want to go there. He says he can't seem to sell the vehicle.
Well, there are breakers in Sharjah and Ajman in places like that where if you want to take a little bit of a chance and a little bit of a gamble, you probably could go. And I mean, the guys who took the car to be repaired, they do that, don't they? They can source used parts.
Well, this is the same. That's Modern Century Auto Garage, which is a sister concern of Rage Garage that James goes to. And basically, if you talk to them, they can source used parts.
Yeah.
They basically do the job of going to the breakers for you and doing the awful job of haggling.
Yeah.
Which none of us are very good at.
I mean, to be honest, you don't want to be going around these places yourself because
it's not dangerous. It's just that you don't know what you're doing.
Very dodgy. Very dangerous. Take guards with you.
Bat mechanic?
Yes. Yes. Or just go to a mechanic and say, get me a used one. That's it.
Yeah. And he'll do it for you. I mean, but it's not cheap. At $10,000-15,000 for a used gearbox. Easy.
Yeah. The question coming back about the 75,000 dirham, 77,000 dirham, 5-seater crossover SUV light drive thing. What about the Sorento? So that's 75,000 bracket. Why wouldn't you go for that?
More expensive.
Yeah.
More expensive. I think that's more like 100K. Yeah. Hang on. Which is a Sorento and a Santa Fe? Isn't it the same car? Yes, it is. Yeah. So it's closer to 100. Yeah. But you might well get a 5-seat version. I mean, Hyundai is always doing deals. Kia is always doing deals. Actually, that's a Kia, isn't it? I'm getting confused. But yeah, might be able to. I still say go for the Escape. Better car.
You just think the Escape. Yeah, go with the Ford. There we go.
Fun to drive.
A quick question, Imtishan. You can maybe help Martin with this one, and you got to make it quick. It says, can you tell me the pitfalls of importing a U.S. classic car going shopping in Miami?
The pitfalls are actually less if you're buying them yourself directly in the US. Go find a good car. I think he was importing it. Let's assume that he's bought a good one. Let's assume that he's bought a good car with no rust, no issues, runs properly, has a healthy supply of spares. Importing it here, we'll have to find somebody to get it off a ship on the port of Miami, get it over to Dubai, and then get customs to clear it, then customs to get paid customs duty, and then registered and, I won't say taxed, but I would say insured. So the problem is, he check what the custom duty is. He needs to check that the car will pass GCC specs, will actually be registered as a Dubai plated car. Otherwise, he has to do it as a classic car or use the Sharjah Classic Car Club to do an old classic car registration. Also, insurance, he should be aware there isn't really a solution yet for comprehensive insurance for classic cars. And there's just third party. And it's a real problem. There are a couple of people that offer it. Some of them are newer in the market. I believe there's a company called Green Shields offering classic cars. Again, I don't endorse them. I haven't really used them yet. But that's one option out there. But generally, most people will look at your classic car, the big players, AXA, RCA, and just go, huh? Because in my case, only one company insured my DeLorean. And even they really had to pull data from their European partners to know what the car is. Most people will just say no. So make sure the car you want to import can be insured. Because if it can't be insured, it can't be registered. If it can't be registered, you can't drive.
There we go.
And just quickly, mechanically, if you are planning on driving it, then whilst it's still in America, if you can find a reliable person to work on it, you might just want to have the cooling looked at, maybe install a bigger radiator on it, and perhaps get air conditioning installed on it as well. Some classic cars don't have that, but they can be retrofitted, so that might be one thing
to look at. And just get a good supply of parts, right? I mean, like oil filters, this sort of things that would be difficult to get here, but cheap in the US, just get them out.
It's easy to get them, stick them in the boot, so that, they're over here at that same time.
Exactly, if you transport it with the car. Tires. Yeah. Tires. Get a spare set of tires. Tires are difficult.
There we go. See, you guys are full. You're just a fountain of information.
Well, on one topic.
A really quick one. I just came across this. We're always talking about Teslas. We're always talking about these electric cars. Daimler is planning to come out with 6 electric cars. Yeah. And I was thinking about this, and I'm going, okay, I can go and get a Tesla, or I can go and get a Daimler.
Yeah.
Where am I going to go?
Toyota Prius.
Probably.
Yeah.
Tesla.
You know how I feel about electric cars, so
yeah, I know how you feel about them. But
it's a bit of a red. Talk to him. I still think they're a bit of a red herring, even though Norway's best-selling car and SUV are both electric cars at the moment.
Clearly he's not a Norwegian citizen.
What do they know? What do they know?
One more thing.
Well, there's not much emissions there.
We got just over a minute, and here's a question that it came to mind today as I was going down Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Road. And I went back through our archives of things we speak about, and the list of things that I send you guys each week that we almost never get to, but I still
I look at them,
diligently send them. The one day I don't, how come we didn't get any show notes?
Yeah, exactly.
See? But the 370Z Nissan.
Yes.
We never talk about this vehicle.
Yes, well, I mean, to be honest...
Is there a reason why we never talk
about it?
No,
it's barely on sale here. This is the problem.
It's still available. There is a Nismo version of it also now available. The regular version is now much cheaper than it used to be, so actually it's a good value car. What is it, 140 now, is it?
139 or 140 for the manual.
So considering the price and considering the engine and considering what kind of a car it is, it's a great price. The only thing is, like, we live in a very fickle place where people like the latest, newest thing, and, that's getting on a bit, and I think people are just waiting for the next one. So that's why. But if you're looking for a good value, rear-wheel drive sports car, that's one to look at.
I'll give you a big hot tip. Get them second-hand.
Yeah.
Second-hand Zs are very cheap.
Yeah. Really?
And 350Z is very... If you can find a good 350Z, there's not much difference between them, and it's probably the better car.
Really?
Yeah.
Get the 350.
All Zs are fun. All Zs are very fun.
Nice. Okay. Well, there we go. Gentlemen, I hate to say this, but we're done for the evening with Cartalk. We gotta close up the old lines.
No worries.
Turn off the SMS service.
We'll take our Anorex and go home now.
There we go. It's always great to get you guys into studio, which means, hey folks, next week, same place, same time, we're going to be back in studio. We're going to be talking cars. It's your opportunity to get involved. You can SMS, you can call, you can send me an email, nightline@dubai1038.ae, and I almost never forget to include them in the show.